This is a podcast about house music. I'm that podcast girl, C-Dub, and I want to thank all of you for helping us hit over 200 downloads in just 3.5 months across only 11 episodes. John, guess what? We did it. This episode is called The Record Store. Picture this. It's the early 90s, somewhere between grit and gold chains, between big dreams and dirty sneakers. And on both coasts, if you wanted to find a sound, you walked into a record store. Let's start with Chicago. Gramaphone Records. It wasn't big. It was tucked into a narrow space on Clark Street, where its walls were crowded with bins and bins of vinyl. The floor had that signature black and white checkered tile. It smelled like plastic and cardboard with gum stuck to a sneaker. Flyers were shoved under the glass of the counter. The lighting was harsh and honest, but it was church. DJs walked in like they had a mission. They'd flip through crates with the reverence of a surgeon in the middle of a procedure. Customers would clear out of the way if someone serious walked in, because that booth in the back, that was sacred ground. Behind that glass, a selector would listen to your picks. The staff could tell if you knew what you were doing by the second record you previewed. If you played the wrong thing too loud, they'd cut the sound. You'd feel it before you even noticed. Gramaphone didn't just sell records. It passed on secrets too. There were codes in the track listings, white labels with no names. You'd find the record someone played at 3 a.m. that melted your brain. And it wouldn't be there the next week. You either knew when to come, or you didn't and you missed out. Frankie Knuckles was a regular. So was Derek Carter. But even if you weren't a name, you could be a witness. One customer remembered watching Derek build an entire set in the store over 2 hours, testing tracks, building tension, and then walking out without a word. Gramaphone was like a dojo, one woman said. You didn't go there to buy. You went there to train. Over in New York, it was different. Downtown, you had places like Vinyl Mania, Dance Tracks, and Satellite. Tucked behind basements, no two record stores were the same. Some were dark and sleek, and others were crowded and chaotic, but all of them had a pulse. Dance Tracks on East 3rd Street had tall racks and endless stacks, plus a community board with handwritten ads. DJ needed. Roommate wanted. One wall had stickers from clubs that no longer existed. Another had a memorial photo of someone from the scene, framed with scribbled tributes. This is where Joe Clausel got his start, where Francois K would come through in his sunglasses, where a new DJ might overhear a conversation that would change everything. One regular recalled being handed a record and told, "Don't play this unless you mean it." Another described the joy of walking in hungover, digging through wax, and finding a beat so perfect it made you cry. At Vinyl Mania, there were whispers about a rare Japanese pressing or about a reel from a closing party, about a limited promo that came in through someone's cousin in Detroit. It wasn't about the money, it was really about the mythology. These stores weren't commercial, they were coded. You really had to dress the part or dress in defiance of it. Some people came in gender blurred. Baggy pants, nail polish, stubble, and gloss, because in those 4 walls there was no wrong way to be. In fact, dressing ambiguously sometimes gave you more space. People didn't know how to categorize you, so they left you alone. One woman recalls she never got called out for being a woman in the DJ booth because she wore oversized hoodies and kept her voice low. If I didn't speak, they assumed I was just another guy pulling heat, and that got me further. But don't get it twisted, record stores weren't just soft nostalgia. They were gatekept. They were intimidating. There were whole afternoons where people felt like they didn't belong. But they came back anyway. And maybe that's what made it church. You had to keep returning and have faith in the process. So I'm sure there are a lot of listeners who have been to record stores and who can recall an amazing story of one crazy afternoon where they saw something that happened at a record store. I'd love to hear it. Head over to the comments section and drop me a line. I can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, keep the beats alive.